They can clean the air and brighten up a room, but watch the sunlight, temperature, and watering. Snake plants are notoriously picky and slightly poisonous. Even novice gardeners know that plants need water. However, watering a snake plant isn't as easy as other kinds of plants. Think of them as the Goldilocks of the plant world. If you don't get it just right, they're not going to thrive and could potentially die.
That's too cold.
If they're given too much water, root rot may form. But you can't completely neglect your snake plant and forget about watering it either. You need to strike the right balance. Give the soil time to dry out before watering again. The plant will store sufficient water in its leaves to last for several days. Once the top few inches of soil are dry, you can water your snake plant again. During the warmer months, you should check on the soil about 5 days after watering to see when the plant is ready for more water. In the winter, the snake plant will be able to go longer between waterings. As mentioned, if snake plants get too much water, they may develop root rot. However, if you don't choose the right type of soil, it is also possible that your plant will be plagued with this issue. It is essential to choose a well-draining soil that won't hold too much water. Otherwise, the plant could get waterlogged, leading to root rot, fallen leaves, and other serious problems. Gardeners should also take care when choosing a pot for your snake plant. Snake plants have the potential to grow to be quite large, reaching up to 3 feet tall when grown as houseplants, though in their native environment, they can grow up to 10 feet wide and 12 feet tall. While you may eventually need a large pot up to 18 inches across and 24 inches deep, if your snake plant is small, you should avoid choosing a pot that is overly large. It will require too much soil that could potentially hold too much water, threatening root rot once more. A good rule is to choose a pot that's 1 to 2 inches larger in diameter than the plant's root ball. If you're looking for a flowering plant to add some color to your home or outdoor garden, a snake plant may not be the best choice. You've possibly heard that they produce pretty white flowers, and while you're not wrong that snake plants can flower, it isn't necessarily going to happen. It's very rare for a snake plant to flower, so those that do see this beautiful occurrence should consider themselves lucky.
I'm not taking my eyes off you.
Even when some snake plants eventually flower, it may not happen for several years. The plants and their flowers can grow slowly, especially when under less than ideal conditions. So you may have to wait patiently for a few years to be lucky enough to spot flowers. Sadly, there is no known trick to coax a snake plant into flowering. It can all come down to the plant's age and the pure luck of the draw. When growing a snake plant, it's important to ensure they're not in a space that'll get too hot or too cold. Snake plants originated in Africa. They're used to warmer weather without the threat of freezing or frosts, so keep the room temperature above 60 degrees. If they remain in temperatures lower than 60 degrees for too long, the plant's growth will slow. If the temperature gets under 50 degrees, it can cause serious damage to the leaves. So don't forget about a snake plant that you brought outside in the spring or summer. If exposed to freezing temperatures, it is likely that the plant won't make it to the following spring. Warmer temperatures are generally fine for snake plants. However, if they are in direct sunlight and the temperature is over 100 degrees for an extended period of time, it could threaten their health. When keeping a snake plant indoors, aim to keep the temperature between 65 and 85 degrees. As long as you put a snake plant in an area where temperatures aren't too extreme in either direction, they should be fine. One important part of caring for a snake plant is regularly checking it for any signs of a pest or fungal infestation. There are several species of sap-sucking pests that you should look out for, including aphids, spider mites, thrips, whiteflies, and mealybugs. These bugs drink plant sap and are able to multiply quickly, meaning a few can quickly turn into an infestation. Sap-sucking pests also release a sticky substance called honeydew on the leaves, which can cause sooty mold to grow.
They're all tending to the sugar that's there, and that's what they're feeding off of.
Southern blight is one type of fungus that may develop, though it is more common in snake plants growing in warm and humid climates. It starts as white patches with black dots and then grows larger, causing the leaves to become brown or gray. If you notice signs of southern blight on your snake plant, be sure to prune off any affected leaves before it has the opportunity to spread. Powdery mildew is another type of fungus that can grow on snake plants. However, it's more common in climates where the temperature is cool, the humidity levels are higher, and there isn't much light. Powdery mildew doesn't look attractive, but it doesn't pose a serious threat to snake plants as long as you remove any affected parts of the plant. Also, by choosing an area with more sunlight and trying to decrease humidity levels, you can help your snake plant get rid of powdery mildew. If you have young children or pets, you may want to reconsider your desire to get a snake plant, as they are considered toxic to us and our animal friends. The saponin chemicals present in the leaves have the potential to poison anyone who eats or chews on them. According to the American Kennel Club, while snake plants are only mildly poisonous to humans, they are more toxic to animals, including dogs and cats. If the leaves are ingested, it can cause the animals to suffer from diarrhea, nausea, or vomiting. In rare cases, dogs can also suffer from ruptured red blood cells. If your dog or cat ingests any part of a snake plant, you should seek veterinary care, particularly if they are showing any stomach irritation symptoms or having swelling in their mouth or throat. Even though they're only considered slightly toxic to humans, they still may not be the right choice for homes with young children. Because of their smooth and bright leaves, a child may be attracted to the plant and try eating it. If children exhibit signs of nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, or excess saliva, seek medical attention. Helping a snake plant's tall green leaves maintain their gorgeous appearance can take some effort, with many potential obstacles that can stand in the way. Sometimes, if the plant doesn't get enough sunlight, the leaves become taller, thinner, and less attractive and healthy looking. So if you notice this change, move your plant to a spot where it will get more sun. Overwatering can also cause several potential leaf-related issues. If the leaves hold too much water, they can turn mushy and weak. In some cases, this condition can also occur if the snake plant is in a very humid environment.
The one kryptonite with these is water. If you overwater them, they're going to rot from the base.
Yellowed leaves can also be a sign of overwatering. If the plant's roots rot and aren't able to move the necessary nutrients to the leaves, they could change to a yellow color. In some cases, brown splotches can cover some of the leaves on a snake plant. Other times, the tips of several leaves may turn brown. Such damage can be caused by improper care during transport or exposure to extreme weather conditions, namely frost. When snake plants are left out in freezing temperatures, the cold can freeze some of the leaf cells. As the weather warms up and the plant defrosts, you may see brown spots in the damaged areas. Sadly, if the leaves are brown, there is nothing you'll be able to do to get them to turn back to green, as the cells are already permanently damaged. The best thing you can do is to cut the entire leaf off to leave a spot for a new one to grow. Yet another leaf-related issue with snake plants is the potential for the leaves to wilt, wrinkle, and often droop down. There are a few potential issues that can cause the leaves on this type of plant to wilt. The first relates, of course, to temperature. If the weather is too warm or sunny for multiple days in a row, it can cause a snake plant to go into heat stress. Temperatures that are too cold can also have the same effect. These extreme temperatures can kill the tissues in the leaves, leaving them droopy.
Strange weather we're having, rain and drought and snow.
And all in the same dang week.
Another possible problem that can cause the leaves to wilt is too much moisture. If it is saturated in too much water and the roots begin to rot, they won't be able to transfer water to the leaves as normal, causing them to shrivel and droop. Sometimes the long, straight leaves of snake plants may twist, bend, or curl. As with other leaf problems, there isn't necessarily a clear-cut explanation for this issue, but a few different common factors could be to blame. Cold temperatures and underwatering can both cause the leaves of a snake plant to twist or curl, with young leaves being particularly susceptible to curling if temperatures are too low. And unfortunately, if this happens before the plant is well established, those leaves will remain curled throughout its life. If the curling leaves are the result of underwatering, it is likely that the curl will also be accompanied by brown tips. Similarly, if your snake plant is getting too much sunlight, it can dry out more quickly, curling the leaves and turning their tips brown. If you've ruled out watering, sunlight, or temperature as the cause, consider treating the plant for an infestation, particularly of thrips. Even if you don't see any evidence of the pests, they are very small and good at hiding, so they can be easy to miss. Neem oil works effectively on thrips and won't threaten the health of the snake plant. Propagation is a process that refers to taking a cutting from a parent plant and rooting it to allow a new plant to grow. While this is possible with a snake plant, it isn't a good task for a beginner to attempt. It's very easy to damage the plant during the process by improperly cutting the leaves. Plus, the new snake plants that grow might not have variegations on their leaves, which can make them less attractive.
When the new snakes appear, they'll actually be all green. They won't have this yellow border.
If you do manage to successfully clip a cutting from the plant, then you'll also need to decide whether you want to propagate it in water or soil. Each option has its own set of pros and cons, which can add new challenges to the mix. While propagating in water is the easiest option and makes it possible to see the root growth, it's also going to take the longest amount of time to produce a new plant that is ready to be potted in soil. Soil propagation makes it possible to grow different snake plant variations in the same pot, but it doesn't allow you to visually track the growth of the roots. If you consider yourself superstitious or don't want to tempt fate, you might decide that a snake plant isn't the right choice for you. Some people believe that they can bring bad luck to a home if they are kept inside. The reasoning is that snake plants attract negative energy, thus threatening the well-being of the home and those in it. Feng Shui practices also point to some negative aspects of snake plants. This Chinese system is designed to create the best flow and energy in a home through the arrangement of furniture. They state that because of their negative energy, snake plants should never be put in a bedroom. There have been no scientific studies to back up these assertions, so take them with a grain of salt.